Welcome to the podcast, Kill Complacency. Here we inspire intentional living by motivating others to handle hard better. And here's your host, Marty Hofmann.
Roshan Kalra, from dentist to financial freedom in 6 years. That's what we're going to be talking about on episode number 1 today with my fellow investor from Oklahoma City. Super fun to talk to. He's a first-generation American who basically, you'll hear in his story, but took what he learned from his dad and turned it into financial freedom. And it only took him 6 years. And his message would be that we can do this. Anyone can do this in 10 years or less. So stay tuned. Great stuff in here. He's very passionate and fun to listen to. Today's guest is Roshan Kalra. And I've known him as an investor around Oklahoma City, but also as a dentist. I think we met at a luncheon, one of Jacowan's.
Was it one of those breakfasts?
It was a lunch.
Okay.
Yep. But I followed his journey and just really been inspired by him and his intentionality. And what I know about him is he's gone from dentist to investor. He does public speaking. He's got mentor. I mean, he does some mentorship. And he's really, and his passion would be world traveling, right? Maybe we'll get into that too.
I love traveling.
I mean, he's, in my opinion, he's life in air, right? You've created your life, your job, and everything matches into that. So
yeah, I used to tell people that I would book my trips first and then figure out the rest later.
Do you still do that?
Yeah.
So what I want to hear about today, Roshan, is what you were thinking when you were 15 to 20-year-old. You're first American generation here. How did you decide to be a dentist or do that? And maybe even through dentist school, like what were you thinking to make you be different from everybody else in regards to being where you are today?
Yeah, cool. Well, first of all, thanks, Marty, for having me on. Appreciate it. It's an honor. That's a cool question because, people often talk about, when I'm on podcasts, about post-dentistry, how I started investing, things like that. But if you go even further back to 15, 20-year-old, I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. And I would say that I didn't have this idea of financial freedom in my head. I think I had an innate business sense. I was back when I was like in high school, 15 to 20, or 15 to 17, I was flipping iPhones, flipping phones. I was, buying a phone, selling it for $50 more, and kept doing that until my goal was I just want to get enough profit to have my own phone for free.
Okay.
And so I would get like a new iPhone for free, or from the profits of doing that. And I kept doing that. And then in college, it grew to, I was flashing Xboxes. I was detailing cars. I think I always had that sense of I want to create income. I didn't have any bigger purpose until probably my 3rd and 4th year of dental school is when I decided that I want to have freedom in my life choices. And I wanted what was financial freedom. I didn't know it was called financial freedom, but that's what I wanted. And I was 3-4 years on the path after dental school into F.I.R.E, and I didn't even know. I had never heard of F.I.R.E. And then someone told me, "Oh, are you on the F.I.R.E path?" And I'm like, "What is that?" And they were like, "Financial independence, retire early." I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing." So unbeknownst to me, I was on that path, but I didn't know that was a thing. And then, so
Did you work jobs in high school, or was it strictly flipping phones?
that was I
income.
did in summers. I worked as a dental assistant. My dad's a dentist. I used to work for him, but that was kind of a shoe-in. That was
just like,
that was nepotism at its best. Got the job because my dad owned the office. I don't think I was a good assistant by any means. But I worked summers doing that, and then during the school year, I would be flipping phones, and then, college.
Do you have siblings?
I have one older brother, and he's also a dentist.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys
it's in the
both did it.
family. Yeah, and, I was always the black sheep of the family. When I was growing up, I never wanted to be a dentist. And I think that stemmed from, as a younger kid, you don't want to do what you kind of want to go everything opposite of your parents. And then in third or fourth year of college, I probably, my third year of college, I realized that if I was to do medical school, it would be 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 3 years of residency, and 1 to 3 years of fellowship if I wanted to be a specialized doctor. And I was like, that is just way too long. Dental school is also long. It's 4 years of college and then 4 years of dental school. But after that, you can go out and start earning income and not really losing years to opportunity cost. And so when I started to put all this together and realized, looked without or as little bias as possible, looked back on my life and realized, yeah, my family was, I didn't ever feel like I was super wealthy or anything like that, but I never felt like I was wanting things. So I definitely grew up with like the silver spoon or the silver platter. And I was like, this is awesome. Why wouldn't I want a life like that for me and my future family?
Did your dad come here to practice? Was he a dentist?
So he was a dentist. Yeah, he was a dentist in India. And actually, his story is kind of crazy too, because him and my mom are a love marriage. And back in the day, in the 80s, that was very unusual. It was mostly arranged marriages. So my dad's family didn't actually approve of my mom.
Wow.
And so the only way they were going to get married is if they left India. And and at one point,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. And at one point, my mom had an opportunity to leave India, and she was like, my brother is in America. I'm going to go. And if you're wanting to come with me, you come. If you're not, don't come. And like, she gave that ultimatum. And my dad in 85 left, and they got married, they left, they went to New York City. My dad used to be a taxi cab driver. He used to sell hot dogs on the street. I mean, I could never work as hard as my parents did. My mom used to sell jewelry at the farmers markets and like those night markets and things like that. They worked super hard to save up every dollar to give a better life for their kids. And really,
when did your dad become a dentist? How soon after coming here?
So if I remember correctly, I believe he went to dental school in either 87 or 88. So it was 2 to 3 years after. He had been working his entire time to get into dental school. And I remember a joke. He said he just took a test thinking he would just ace it because he's like a dentist in India, and he failed it miserably. He's like, I had to study really hard to pass the test. And luckily, dental school is 4 years. And back in that time, if you were a foreign trained dentist, you only had to do your third and fourth year. So he went to NYU and did his third and fourth year. And I'm not 100% sure on the dates, but I think it was 88 to 90. And then he practiced for a year or two, and then he went to Tampa, Florida.
And then that's when you were born.
Yeah.
So you've always known your dad as a dentist.
I've always known my dad as a dentist. Yeah. And my mom is a hustler.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
I mean, she made it happen even with the marriage.
Yeah. She is like, her determination and willpower is unbelievable. It can get on my nerves sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure.
When it gets used against me, it's like there's no stopping it. But you have to admire the hustle.
That's cool. Okay, so you grew up in Florida, got an older brother, and you're flipping phones, you're doing the entrepreneur thing. At least you're looking back, you're realizing that you had that entrepreneur spirit.
Yep.
You go to college, you shift to become a dentist because you just realized what dad gave me was a great thing. And why waste your life becoming a doctor in a sense?
Yeah. Why waste all those years?
So you become a doctor and you start practicing. How did you get from Florida to Oklahoma?
Yeah. So my third year, I think I was one of the first people in my dental class to actually commit to some kind of position or job. Most people didn't commit into their fourth year, and many people until like 6 months before they graduated. In my third year, we had these vendor fairs where different kinds of companies could come and talk to students, and they only allowed it once a year because, of course, there's some conflicts of interest there.
Yeah.
But I met with this one guy. He owned a Comfort Dental office, which is a franchise office. It's different than a corporate office because you do own the office. And he was doing way better than I thought was possible. At that time, associate dentists were going to come out making $120,000, which, if you're listening to this and you think $120,000 is a lot of money, you're 100% correct. It is a lot of money. But then when you consider the fact that my dental school was $430,000,
and your time
and my time that I spent it, 120 is a good amount of money, but it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
It just is simply, it doesn't work economically.
Mm-hmm.
Not when your school loans could be
Sure.
earning that much interest, you know? And so he was earning $350,000, and it just blew my mind. I thought that for sure he had to be doing something unethical. I thought like, there's no way. And, you know, even my dad wasn't earning that kind of money, and he'd been a dentist for 20 years. So I went in and shadowed him in my third year, and for a whole week, I was like, if he's doing something unethical, I'm going to be here for a whole week. For 66 hours that they were open, I was there in the office, just looking high, like just around their shoulder, asking questions, things like that. I'm like, if there's something wrong, I'm going to find out. Come to find out, no. They just work really hard. They work extremely efficiently,
Mm-hmm.
and they take care of the low to middle income classes.
Okay.
And so there's no lack of patience, right? And
Sure.
so when you have all of that work to get done, and you work super efficiently, you can earn $300,000, $400,000, and it's not insanely difficult to do so.
Mm.
And so once I saw that, I committed. I told him, yes, I'm going to come to Oklahoma. That's where he was. If he was in Alaska, I would have been in Alaska, you know. So he moved me to Oklahoma, and my first job out of dental school was my very own practice. 3 months out of dental school, I owned my own office and never worked as an associate or an employee of someone else. And it went, yeah.
Was that scary? Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was super scary. I was $750,000 in debt without having earned my first paycheck. So really $120,000, not going to go anywhere.
And it's all on your shoulders.
All on my shoulders, yeah. And so that was definitely very scary, but I thought that and I think this was good thinking back in the day, and seeing it in the future, I was like, yes, I think that was a wise way to think, was that I was young enough where if I made a big mistake, I could still get over it and go over those obstacles and fix whatever mistakes I made because I had time on my side.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I felt like that was I had to do it, otherwise I would always regret it. And then come to Oklahoma, start doing pretty well, and find out real estate's really great. And, you know, started my practice October 1st, 2017, and my first real estate purchase was May of 2018.
Well, you didn't wait long. When did you get married?
I got married in, oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot here. Either 2021 or 2020. I can tell you when we started dating. It was November of 2016, October of 2016. Our marriage was November of, I believe, 2020.
So you started dating before you started your practice.
Yeah. So we started dating. I moved to Oklahoma. We just said she would stay in Florida because it was a pretty relatively new relationship. We hadn't been even dating a year. Didn't want to feel like I'm uprooting her out of her family and her job. And what if I didn't even know if I like her yet. It's 8 months into a relationship. And so come to find out 5 months later, we're doing the long distance thing. And it just becomes, let's not talk about if you're going to come. Let's just talk about when you're going to come. And then the very next month she moved, and then we've been together since.
That's cool. You know, there's also a certain fearlessness that comes when we're young. I think some of it's just because we're naive. But I do want to kind of tap into that. I mean, you moved here, you said $750,000 of debt.
Yeah.
And you are not under somebody.
That's
you are an owner operator.
Yeah.
Working on people's mouths and trying to pursue everything you've been learning. So what kind of let me do this. If you could give yourself we'll say what were you, 25, 28?
25, yeah.
25. If you could give your 25-year-old self advice right now, what would you tell him?
Other than buy Bitcoin?
That's a good one too.
Yeah, I would just say no, just stay the path. You know what I would have done? Instead of opening a brand new office, I would have bought into an existing one. There was an existing Comfort Dental that I could have bought into, and I would have made more money earlier on into my career. And that would have helped me explode my real estate holdings back then. I was limited by the fact that I truly, as a brand new practice owner, I'm a slow dentist.
Sure.
And the office itself is slow. So you have slow compounding on slow. My first year out, I made less than most associate dentists would. And I had practice loans and, all those loans and cost of living to pay for. And so that was tough. But the only difference I would make is just maybe join an existing office as opposed to starting a brand new one.
An existing, yeah.
Yeah, that would be the only difference. Still the same company, Comfort Dental. I thought everything went really well.
You made your first real estate purchase. Was that a primary residence or was that a rent house?
It was it was a portfolio of 8 rental houses.
You started with 8.
8, yeah. My very first purchase went from one one condo that I bought with my loan money in dental school that I lived in, and I bought it for $60K, and I sold it in 2018 for $120. And because I lived in it, 2 of the last 5 years,
Sure.
there was no capital gains.
Sure.
So I had a decision: do I take this $120? Do I put it against my $430,000 of loans? Or do I use it and put it as a down payment? Well, I ended up using it and putting it as a down payment for these 8 houses. It was $595,000 at that time. And believe it or not, I was so hungry for a deal. I was looking everywhere. I was looking on Zillow. I was looking on MLS. I didn't know too much about wholesalers at that time, but I found the deal off of Craigslist.
Yeah, I bought off Craigslist.
And it was the sketchiest deal ever. Like, the English was broken. It was one, when someone writes and it's one long paragraph and there's no punctuation, that's what it looked like. And I'm sure so many other people saw that and thought it must have been a scam. I was hungry enough where I was like, let me just call him and see what happens. Call him and find out. This is an Iranian dude who has spent his life or last 10, 15, 20 years here in Oklahoma City building up these 8 houses, paid them all off in cash, and was selling the whole thing so that he could retire and move back to Iran. And so that
was a lot of money.
And that was a lot of money, yeah, $600K. And so that's exactly what he did. And I think a lot of people must have passed over it because of just the way it was written, how scammy it looked. And, I took advantage of that. And now 2 of those houses I sold and funded my wedding. The other 6, one of them I sold because of there was a refinance that messed up. They were supposed to refinance all 6 houses, and they only refinanced 5 of them, and they left the 6th one free and clear. And by the time the issue was resolved, the interest rates had gone up by 2%. Or by the time that was figured out, the interest rates had gone up by like 2%. So there's no point in refinancing this. It wouldn't cash flow anymore, so I just sold that one. So I still have 5 of the 8, and then I refinanced those 5 and got another couple $100,000 out of it. So
yeah, what are those 5 worth today?
Something like... if I had to guess, probably 900 to 1.1, somewhere around there.
5 of them.
Yeah, there were.
So you've sold 3, paid for your wedding, took some other money.
One of them I got, like 70, 80K cash from, and then the other 5.
What'd you do with the 70,000?
I put it to hard money lending.
Okay, so so you made it bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's cool. I know you do a lot. I know you're continuing to press in and do more and more and more. At what point was that the pivotal point for you when you realized that, like, there's things bigger than real estate? I mean, things bigger than dentistry, or had you already picked up on that? I mean, was that purchase of 8 homes or was it? I'm sure there was a learning curve, right?
Yeah. So my 3rd and 4th year of dental school, when I decided I would join in that Comfort Dental, I had this Excel spreadsheet of my projections of income and how I would allocate it. Pretty much, I'd make 180 or 200, and how much would taxes would be, and how much would living costs be, how much could I invest every year. I had done that for like the next 8 years. And so what I decided in my, I can't remember if it was my 3rd or 4th year of dental school, was that as soon as I graduated dental school, I would achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less.
Okay.
So at that point, I was reading every finance book that I could, every retirement book that I could. And somehow I never saw F.I.R.E. I just read books. So I guess F.I.R.E. was on the online forums. I wasn't on online forums. And I came to find out the only way to scale in a predictable and profitable manner for sure was through real estate, through the BRRRR method, through buying houses, cash flowing, and just keep doing that over
because
and over
of the
again.
leverage, right?
Because of the leverage, right? You could do it through stocks easily, but you need $4 million. And I was thinking I wasn't going to have $3 to $4 million that I could pull, that 4% that you can pull every year from. And so I didn't think that was going to happen to me. I just didn't see a path in 10 years to collect $3 to $4 million. But I did see a path in 10 years. Hey, I can just keep buying houses. And if I buy 50 to 100 houses in Oklahoma's market, I think I could do this. And it happened in 6 years.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes back to a plan though, and you being intentional about learning and growing. I'm curious to know what your dad and your brother think of you. Are they following the same journey? I mean, where are they? Do they think you're crazy?
Yeah.
Are you still the black sheep?
Yeah, that's still a really great question. I think in Asian families, they don't like risk, but if you have proven yourself, suddenly you're like, oh, you're great, you're doing awesome, we like this. So actually, when I was buying my 8 houses, my parents told me my dad had a really bad experience in real estate. He invested as a general partner in a motel, and it was a big motel, and the operator actually scammed every one of the general partners, took the money, ran off after like a year to a different country. And so he had this huge black mark on real estate. And so him and my mom thought I was crazy and thought that I shouldn't be investing in real estate and should just be focusing on dentistry. 5-6 years later and tens of millions of dollars of real estate later, now not only do they support the vision, they see the vision, but on one of my commercial purchases, I'm partnered up 33% me, 33% my brother, and 33% my dad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so not only did now they see the vision, but they also bought into it, literally with their dollars.
Sure. That's cool. And your mom should just be like the property manager. Her just makes things happen.
Yeah, I mean, she could. I don't think she has any desire, but I bet if she could, I bet if she wanted to, she would be really good.
She's the right type.
She is the right type.
You need to pay rent.
Exactly. Yeah, she is exactly the right type. Yeah.
That's cool. So you did, and you were a dentist for about 6 years.
6 years, yep.
And then you sold that?
Yep. I sold out of my dental office, and now the only dentistry I do is charity dentistry, volunteer dentistry.
And that's just your way of giving back.
Yeah.
And making your time priceless.
Yeah. So the real reason I went into dentistry was, there was this one experience when I was working one of those summers as a dental assistant. I saw a lady come into my dad's office crying and in pain. And she was sobbing hysterically because the tooth was so infected, it was hurting so bad. And after the procedure was done, she left crying, but this time was crying in happiness, right? She was so happy that someone was willing to see her that day and take her out of pain and help her really understand what she needed and get her taken care of. And that's really was the pivotal moment for me to be like, when I look back on it, when I see that, I'm like, why didn't I know that dentistry was for me at that time? But yeah, that's really when I look back, a defining experience for me to be like, yes, I should do dentistry. And now that I've completely transitioned out of it, I still want to do and help, because that was the original reason I wanted to get into dentistry. That was my why. So now I choose to help by 2 ways. One, I try to help other dentists achieve financial freedom so that they can go and pursue whatever they want to. And most dentists want to continue doing dentistry, or at least in the volunteer or charity aspect, so we can have a bigger presence. If more dentists have financial freedom, we have a bigger presence of volunteer dentists. And second, I go through and do volunteer dentistry on my own. There's a place called Good Shepherd. I think they just changed their name to Crossings Midtown, and they're in Midtown, as the name suggests. And I go and volunteer there every once in a while, and I try to do a mission trip every.
What on the mission trip? Where do you guys go?
So usually
same place.
Just somewhere that would be poverty-stricken and in need of dentists. Most often, I've gone to Jamaica, but not the parts of Jamaica that we go to. It's
because Jamaica is very tourist.
Yeah.
And then there's
then you
slums.
go inland.
Yes.
And it's people living in huts and concrete buildings and things like cinder block buildings, and those people don't even have the means to go to the dentist, let alone pay for a dentist. So we go there, we work in a church. It's 95 degrees. We're all sweltering hot. Like heat stroke is a real thing. We're bending and breaking our backs while they're in a church pew, so no one has proper seating position, or there's no lights. It's
little
very
stuff
much
on your head.
Yeah. It's very much a very difficult week of dentistry, but the more difficult it is, the more rewarding it is.
Sure. Yeah. And that's how usually it is. The harder the bigger the reward, the happier we are
Yeah,
to be giving.
absolutely.
Hey, just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives, to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there, spread the message, share. And if you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store in show notes as well. But it's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com, mindsetshop.com. Check it out. Thank you guys so much, and have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Kill Complacency. Follow and share our podcast to change lives and inspire growth.